Hey guys, Tim here, Big Dog Forge. Welcome back. So I need a compass. Lost without my compass. So I need just a small tool that I can compare some measurements with. They don't have to be super great. And I figured I'd forge a pair out. It's been a while since I made a pair of those. So thought I'd bring you along for the ride. Stick with me guys, should be fun. Alright, let's get to it. Bye now. Okay guys, we're going to start off with a couple of 1/2 inch round mild steel pieces, and we're going to make ourselves a compass. We just need a small one, something we can just compare distances with. What we're going to do is square off the end of this bar real quick, and we're going to split it. And the way this compass is going to work is one side is going to have 2 ears and the other side will have a single, and it will fit between the two. So this is where we're starting. We need to split this bar at the end so we can forge out a couple of those ears. And that bar, that bend that you see I put in the bar there, it's so I can hold the tongs a little more comfortably, a little lower between my legs. And I'm using just a scrap plate here so I can cut through and not damage the anvil. There we go. Clean it up. I'm going to split this open and forge these guys flat. And we're looking to make them just about 1/8 of an inch thick. And they'll end up being quite a bit longer than what we need. And we're going to forge this 1/8 inch plate between them. And we'll have to readjust these a couple of times. We're just looking for a little bit of uniformity here. And I'm not going to take too much time and make these things absolutely perfect. I just need a functional tool. But we always like to practice, you know, doing the best we can. So we'll see how it goes. Now I've created an offset, and in the single piece of that joint that'll fit between the two, I'll create the offset in the opposite direction, of course, and they'll lock together a little bit like the bosses of a pair of tongs. And of course I did not have the camera on while I cut this off over the cutoff table, but I'll show you on the next one. And we're going to draw this guy out. You can see that I'm pretty much flattening those ears together, so we got some work to do to get those realigned and dressed up once we get these get this guy drawn out. And you're going to notice here that the camera, the new camera, is sort of susceptible to the vibration from the hammer, so it's a little odd, but it's not touching the anvil or anywhere near it. It's a couple of feet away on a concrete floor, which is interesting. Anyway, about halfway through this, I ran out of battery and had to switch to the old camera while I charged the batteries up, and then the end of it again will be with the new camera. You guys see if you can tell what's what there. All right. See if we can work on getting these back in shape. It's not too difficult. Just drive that 1/8 inch plate back in there and flatten them out. They work pretty good. And we want to keep that backbone fairly straight. Our little offsets there. And when we're all done with these, we'll forge them to finish as best we can. but we'll touch the edges up with a file just to clean them up a little bit, but we'll get as close as we can. Gonna get my shoulder back in shape and practice my hammer control. Alright, now this is the other half, and we're going to give it just a little less than a 45-degree angle. And we're just hammering it over the edges of the anvil there, and dressing up those shoulders best we can. Now those will be, we won't file those down. Those will actually be sort of formed when we put the two halves together, their final shape. You can see I've managed to squish those jaws back together again on that other half, so I just decided to leave them where they were. Alright, we're going to get this over the cutoff table. It ended up being quite long, so we're just going to get rid of some of that material. And dress them up best we can. And I needed to take a little more thickness out of there, so I was using the side of my hammer along the edge as a little bit of a cross peen to draw that out a little bit. There we go. And we're going to cut right there between those marks. Okay. And back to the cutoff table again. And we had a little trouble sliding here, but that's okay. We'll cut it back. We got her off there. Alright, we'll draw this guy down. And we'll keep comparing to the other half so we can get them as close as we can. And we're just checking thickness and width of that upper shoulder to try to match the other half. Now we got a ways to go. Take a couple of these heats out of here and move this along a little bit. That's a little closer. And I ended up with one side just 1/16 longer than the other side, but I'll take care of that on the grinder when I round the tops over. Alright. Get these two guys put together. And the rest of the forming of these things is pretty much while they're together. They work on one another for alignment, width, thickness. And you can get a really good fit that works really well this way. And we'll take a couple of heats here and get these things as close as we can. We'll work them down into a black heat so we can plenish them, knock some of that excess scale off. Now, these are a little bit easier to build in a coal forge, but you can isolate the heat in certain areas. And working in a propane forge is a little more difficult. Those fine tips on those things want to burn off, so you got to really be careful. And you notice I'm keeping the heat pretty low here. Just barely into a red heat and then down into a black heat again. There we go. I'll cool them off. And they work pretty well together. I'm going to have a little fine tuning to do, but I'll do that when they're cold. So we're going to drill a hole in here for a 1/8 inch brass screw and a nut. And cut the top off here. The camera wasn't quite on, but I'm still trimming it up. Off to the sander. We'll round up the top that we cut off And we'll even up those ends while we're there. Take a little burr off that. And that's all the sanding we do. Alright. I'm going to heat these guys up and get some beeswax on them. And we're not getting them too hot. Okay, dripping it all over the end of my anvil there. You'd think I'd learn. I end up having to clean it off all the time. Should put down a piece of cardboard or wood or something. Alright. Make sure they're coated good and well. And I did not show doing any of the filing on these things. Basically just scrape the excess scale off and kind of rounded the corners a little bit. Alright. And like I said, it's just a brass nut on either side. And there you go. Alright guys, we'll do a little bit of cold tuning on these. Just bring the points towards one another. And then tap the body down. And it'll bring everything together and in alignment. Okay, I'm happy with those. They'll work. Alright guys, there you go. So I have my compass. Little guy, just for some small projects. I've got some small parts that I need to build for the bandsaw that we are rebuilding. And I need to do some small parts for some of the blade guides. So this is going to help me out with that. And there we go. We'll give you a, let's see if we can get this camera, this crazy camera of mine, to zoom in, or focus rather, on this. There you go. And get some light on that guy. Didn't come out too badly. There's some things about it I don't like. There's a couple of little hammer marks here and there that didn't quite come out, but they look pretty good. They're nice and fine, so I can do some detailed stuff. So I think that those will work just fine for me. I don't even know if you guys can see that or not. Anyway, there we go guys. Let's see if we can get this camera to go the other way with the focus. Still learning this thing, so you're gonna have to bear with me. You gotta keep an eye on the little wheel. Hey, there we go. I think it worked. Alright guys, there you go. Alright. Thanks for tuning in guys. Thanks for checking out Big Dog Forge. Really appreciate it. If you like what you saw, hit the like button. It's always nice to like. Share, because sharing is good. And then subscribe if you haven't subscribed. You know, if you like what you see here, I'm making videos all the time, so appreciate it. If you want to, you can check us out on Patreon and share the love that way. So thanks guys, appreciate you tuning in. Take care, and thanks again. We'll see you soon. Be safe. Bye bye now.